Okay, folks, good morning. Getting to the end of the line here. We were doing drippings on this side and then ran out of time. So we need to go to the other side and do that. All right. Let's get a little bit of water here. And get the three tones. That's the thing about paper towels, that after you've used them to wipe something down with and they've dried, you can reuse them again. Yeah, it depends on what you're using them for, but it's not like you're wiping your ass with this. This is just yeah, the only thing I'm not a fan about some of this stuff is it's very watery, or it's apparently very watery. So if you don't clean the top of it, you got a little bit of a mess. But this stuff is really good. I actually went to the hobby store yesterday and saw if they see if they had the other colors, but what I noticed is that they were out of stock of a lot of things. No, there's not that many other colors that I want. I would have rebought another bottle of this dark tone, but they were out of that. They were out of that. I did pick up some stuff. The one I use more than any of them, just by the amount that I put on there, is the strong tone. So I picked up another bottle of the strong tone. So I need to use up all these little bits. So, and I also picked up a couple other things because I got something, maybe not immediately, but something in the near future that's going to happen. I got a couple other metallics. I got this Vallejo oily steel, which I don't have, and Vallejo gunmetal. The gunmetal that I have is like a blue gunmetal, which is like useless from a long time ago. But this is like a gunmetal. So what I'm actually going to do, I might even do it before I cut off today, is I'm going to find a piece of paper, or an index card really works the best, and hand paint a swatch. What's up, Deborah? Hand paint a swatch of each one of these metallic colors. Because what I'm going to do is, somewhere in the near future, I got a P47 that I'm going to do in a natural finish. And I looked at videos online of how to paint it, and everybody's got an opinion, right? Well, I've been painting a long freaking time, so I have one too. And I might as well use products that I already have that I'm comfortable with using, not some enamel product or anything like that. So I could guarantee you that what I come up with is may not be how you want to do it, but it's gonna turn out pretty well. So I've got probably um, 8 different metallic colors, maybe 9, from different manufacturers, and I'm going to airbrush them, at least initially. And it's funny because I was reading I was looking up how to do the metal finishes, and they recommended priming in black. I'm like, well, that's easy. I already do that for everything. So that's coming up at some point. But, because what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to pick one of those colors and airbrush the whole thing in layers, and then probably mix one or two of the other metallics and actually take some of the panels and come in and lighten them, you know, because we do have attention to detail. That's not a problem. If I can use a paintbrush, we got this. So, and we'll learn something cool along the way. Just have to decide which metal finish, which one I'm going to do, because I was really disappointed. There's a lot of nose art that's there's a lot of nose art that's cool. There's a lot of nose art that's ugly. Like, I wouldn't fly in that thing. A lot of nose art that's ugly. Hey, Lightning Queen. Yeah, this is my therapy. You know, I kid about that, but you know, it's what it is. It's therapy because I don't have to do this for any particular reason, and I have no time frame to do it on. Like, you got to get this done by the weekend because you got to. Nope. I really enjoy doing this part right here. It's just easy. I actually went up to a larger size brush. I mean, it's not significantly larger, but it allows you, when you get to this rivet, to just put it on the whole damn rivet instead of like putting it on there and having to swipe around it. It's definitely sped it up. And you know, I'm mixing the three colors so that every drippage isn't exactly the same color. You could probably just use one color, and if I had to use one color, I'd probably use this the one they call light tone, soft tone. I'm sorry. So, no, maybe it is light tone. No, light tone. It's the lightest one. It's the one that's the most orangey one. And I bet you could take these and put some regular paint in here and doctor them up, you know, change them up a little bit if you wanted to as well. It just might be a little bit more opaque, but these are going to have more drippage than most of them because these tanks were probably 3 to 4 years old whenever they got into combat for the first time. And it allows you something on the side of this to break up the monotony of it, because Unfortunately, the Soviets just painted these in a very basic fashion. They're just overall green, and they're lucky if they have a red star on them. Not on the turret, on the hull. And they rarely have any markings other than that. I saw one example in the book that showed one with a number 14, one that had a white triangle on it, and then this one has the two little lines on the turret with the red star. So it's not anything spectacular. If I would have just invented things, I would have, and been minimalist, I probably would have added a lot more details than just this, but I do have one more to do. I may end up putting a slogan on the side of one, but they didn't last long enough to realize they were getting their ass beat. I don't know exactly when they started putting slogans on their tanks, but I would imagine they probably needed to have a really big loss or lack of motivation in certain places. And at this point, the Soviets didn't get their butts kicked yet. These guys weren't in action just a few days after Barbarossa. So as far as they knew, they still outnumbered the Germans. Well, they probably didn't have that kind of intelligence like, finding out from spies and stuff like that. But they still outnumbered the Germans like 4 to 5 on tanks. Maybe even more than that. They get into a battle and they lose, a bunch of them. Not recoverable. And not necessarily because of enemy action. But in this one battle, the Soviets had like 4,000 tanks, the Germans had like 400, and the Germans beat the Soviets. The Soviets have no tanks left over. And the Germans lose like 3/4 of their tanks. So, but they didn't kill them 10-1. They probably killed them, 5-1, 4-1. Because some of the German tanks probably broke down also. It's not like the German tanks are super reliable. They're more reliable than these things, because these things are old, and Soviets are even worse, at least at this point, for spare parts than the Germans were. Which is saying a lot, but and then when we're done, we'll give these guys a flat coat, so the shininess of this will be off. Which, you could make a case to leave it shiny because of the drippings. I guess it's like semi-gloss. But I don't really want to simulate rust that happened yesterday. Like there was a rainstorm and and that's where this is coming from. But I've been really happy with this product. It's thicker than you think it is, but then you can just cut it with water however you feel like at the moment. Super, super handy, especially the dark tone. The dark tone is significantly better than the Nuln Oil. I'm really surprised. It's got so much pigment. It's got a lot more pigment in them, and these are very. This has a lot more pigment than it is if I would have just made my own mix of watered down color. Been really happy with it. And it lasts forever. Even being as wasteful as I am, I'm 3 dots for a lot smaller area than I need than that, but oh, there's a bug. Well, this weekend's going to be the first weekend back that since the daughter got here. So what that means is probably probably not going to have the same amount of painting that I normally have. Still should be able to do all the mornings. I'm not sleeping in. But I won't be on a 5 hour tear more than likely. See, I am looking forward to doing that spraying a metal finish, especially with the whole Mr. Abbas's Mr. Abbas's liquid magic. I suspect that will work just fine with metallics. With Vallejo metallics, no problem. That stuff works with craft paint. It'll pretty much work with anything. Okay. That looks pretty damn good. I'm going to have to go back and look and make sure. Is this exhaust is kind of wonky? Like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. And there may be something here that I need to rust. All right, where's my holder here? where there's a hinge is an opportunity for rust to happen for sure. I know that some people use oils and stuff for this, and I don't see ever doing that. These products are too good, and I already have them. Two words for you: water cleanup. Water cleanup. But I would have picked up a green of this. If they weren't out of stock, I would have picked up a green because I know that we're going to want to use this mildewy type stuff on houses. Not crazy, but just a little bit. Just adds another depth and in certain places. You don't want to do the mildewy stuff like in the desert. Like that doesn't really work, but man, where is everybody? Yeah, just a couple folks. Everybody's working today. Where's all my Europeans that go on strike? I actually got a chance to start watching a movie that had been recommended to me by so many of you. And it's an older movie, and it looks like an older movie. And my daughter was having dinner. She's got a lot of schoolwork to do. She's taking a summer semester. She's like, here's this movie that was recommended to me. And I found it on a platform that was free to watch. With commercials. Okay, whatever. I don't want to pay for the movie. If you pay for the movie, I don't want to walk away from it in case I don't like it. I really didn't have that much high hopes for the movie, and actually started watching it. My daughter's like, "Oh, I'll catch it later." I'm like, "You mind if I keep watching?" She's like, "No." And I start watching about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes in after she left, and I stop and I'm like, "We're gonna watch this together later on. This movie there's something different about it." And I may be wrong, but it did catch my attention that there's something different about it. It may turn out to be not what I expected it to be. And that movie is The Duelist. and lots of people have recommended it. Everybody has recommended it. It's good, and it's going somewhere. It's definitely a different take than I was expecting, and I hope it keeps that pace up because it yeah, it looks like it might be one I enjoy, despite those dudes having braids, which I didn't know. I guess the Hussars did that. Call out to the original Hungarian thing, I guess. I guess they had braids when they fought the Ottomans. If I gotta wear braids, I might side with the Ottomans, just so I don't have to wear braids. Crafty Clark, good morning. Just arrived. What movie? Medulis? No, no, the Duelists. The Duelists. It's a movie from 1977 with Harvey Keitel and David Carradine. It's a Ridley Scott movie, and I'm watching it. We watched it for like 10 minutes, and she's like, it just seems like any old movie. And I'm like, it's filmed in a different way. And, yeah. It's not gonna tempt me to sit there and paint Napoleonic stuff, but it's been recommended to me for years by so many different people. I just didn't want to pay to see it, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I'm only like 15 minutes in, but I'm to the part where he goes and confronts him and he's like, "Oh, we're going to have a duel about this." I'm like, "Okay, this is happening way too quick in the whole timeline." So like I know it happens over and over again, but this is worth watching. I just don't need to watch it at 10:30 at night. Might have been closer to 11 o'clock. Well, I was concerned. I like Harvey. I was concerned, except for what was the thing where he played the pimp? Um, but he got his. The one with Jodie Foster, Taxi Driver. That was weird seeing him dressed up like that. But I'm concerned with Harvey and his accent. And I've only seen him do a few lines of dialogue, and it looks like he nixed it. That's good because you just can't be yourself when you don't want John Wayne talking like a Mongol kind of thing, or you don't want a Mongol talking like John Wayne type of thing. But I was intrigued watching it. Like, okay, this is going to be different than I expected it to be. So might even be some might even be something I watch with my mom. Bring the mom over to watch that. Looks like a different take on things. So I was pleasantly surprised. Have I seen that many things with him? The worst thing he's been in, and I don't remember it at all, and I don't know if I've seen the whole thing, is that U-571. He's in that, right? That's terrible. That's a terrible movie. That's a dishonorably stolen movie from the British. Not cool. That was a weird movie. It was a weird movie, and I can tell. I didn't see that movie until 6 7 years ago for the first time, and I can tell why it was. Man, what's her face was beautiful. And I don't mean the little girl, Sybil Shepherd. She was beautiful in that movie. Um, I can tell why it was so violent. because I mean, 1976. You don't show that kind of a bloodbath, and it wasn't that much of a bloodbath, but it was definitely kind of like a bad trip or whatever. But yeah, yeah, I didn't see that until no more than 8 years ago, relatively recent. Again, it's a movie that came out. I couldn't watch it when I was little because it's a rated R movie. Like, how am I going to see a rated R movie, right? And I wouldn't want to watch it again, but it's funny how the details, like you forget details, right? Like, I forgot if he got away with it. I don't remember. I don't remember if he got away with it. Reservoir Dogs. I saw it. The only thing I remember about Reservoir Dogs is the whole scene where the guy got, where he was, where he was getting ready to cut the guy's throat. I don't even remember that well. It's definitely a movie that is. I saw that like right after it came out, and it's definitely a movie that I need to watch again. Just like I rewatched probably 4 or 5 years ago. I rewatched Fargo, and yeah, but Taxi Driver, wasn't that the movie that made Hinckley go crazy or whatever? Which I don't know why you'd go crazy after a 12-year-old prostitute, but the guy's not well, obviously. But yeah, Reservoir Dogs is definitely. I need to see that again. Mr. Pink and Mr. White and Mr. Green and whatever all those things are. Yeah. I need to watch that one and Usual Suspects back to back because they came out about the same time, and I mixed the two up a little bit to some degree. Other than I remember back in the day, back in the Blockbuster, no Blockbuster, back in the Blockbuster day, we watched. Let me make sure I get the right one correct. We watched Unusual Suspects. No, we watched set. We watched Unusual Suspects first, and then watched Seven, and that's when we're watching Seven, like motherfuck, it's Kaiser Sose. When it was like that, that was a spacey back to back. That's back when I always knew the guy was weird, but not that he was a criminal on his on his off when he was off the record. It was a weird movie, but he is a method actor. Yeah, I remember there's a scene in Seven where I think, if I remember correctly, the suspect is being walked away and all you see is his feet, like him walking. And then it pans out to it being spacey, like, motherfuck, it's Kaiser Sose. Son of a bitch. Um, yeah, he's actually really good in a lot of stuff. It's too bad he's a terrible human being, apparently. But so many people are, you just don't find out about it. Because he was great in Horrible Bosses. He was a great in Horrible Bosses. I didn't really care for American Beauty. But Horrible Bosses is really, really funny. I don't really like movies that have drug references to them, especially ones that like promote drug use. But But that one scene in Horrible Bosses where that cocaine goes airborne and they accidentally ingest it, that's pretty damn funny. Got to start your day. Have a nice day. Happy Memorial Day weekend. You too, but not yet. We got to get through this one. Okay? And it's going to be a doozy. Thanks for stopping by again. Appreciate you. Yeah, I don't mind watching movies. The problem is I'm not going to watch movies by myself generally, and it's kind of limited who I can see them here at the house because the wife is terrible about watching movies. You basically have to find something she wants to watch, and I watch that because she's super picky. Yeah, we want to finish with the metallics because that might be something that happens sooner rather than later. Just as a challenge. That's how I ended up doing the snow vehicles. I'm like, I've never done a snow vehicle. Let's do it. And they turned out so well. I got to stop myself from doing only snow vehicles. How many people are on these? I got a question, but I don't want to ask them when nobody's here. 4 of you? All right, I'll ask it. You guys don't have to respond, but it's just, food for thought. But we all subscribe. Well, I don't know if everybody does, but we all subscribe to people on YouTube. You find yourself that you're subscribed to a bunch of people on YouTube and then just don't watch them? And it's not because they don't have good content. It's just you're always looking for something new. Almost like, you get all the channels and there's nothing to watch, right? Like you got 150 channels and there's nothing to watch on TV. Same thing, like I'm subscribed to all these people, but I never watch their stuff. And it's not because they suck or anything. It's just that it's just kind of human nature. And I find myself falling into that because, well, I'm making my own content now. So I can either watch somebody else's content or I can make my own, but I'm not necessarily making it because of the content. I'm making it just for, for a ride along, right? Like I gotta go arrest some people and you guys are doing a ride along. And then it becomes like, okay, you subscribe to a bunch of people. Why don't you watch their stuff? Or do you still watch the stuff that you're subscribed to consistently? Like no, I do it with everybody. I really don't watch other people's stuff. It's rare. And it's not because I don't like what they have. It's just, I don't have time for it. I choose not to make time for it. Let's put it that way. It happens. I don't take it personally. So if you're trying to teach me a lesson that's not working, We're going to run this bead of, that looks like blood-ish. Actually, I can't say that I've ever cut myself with my contacts out and seen what blood tastes like. Tastes like? What blood looks like. And then it makes you wonder, if you're interested in the whole YouTube algorithm, which I'm not super interested in that. I would just like to, if I've got something that's useful for people, to be able to have the visibility that people will be able to find it. If that's the case. But which is better for the algorithm? To get likes or or how many subscribers you have? I would think it would be how many subscribers you have. But obviously if you don't have any likes that doesn't work, but what's the worth of one subscriber as opposed to the worth of one like? Like if you could only do one, if you could subscribe or like, which one do you do? Obviously both are more helpful, but like I said, I don't have time to watch other people. I choose not to make time for that. Let's put it that way. Like I could have just woken up and watched videos. Well, that's not what I want to do. I gotta get some stuff done to feel good about it. All right, let's look at a model of a T-35 and see if I think I know what I should exhaust up there, but I'm not sure. And I don't want to see a black and white picture. That doesn't do me any good. T-35 tank model top view. Let's see what we get on that. Okay, well here's a paint scheme. That's pre-war. It doesn't show. Maybe that's the earlier exhaust. Made by Hobby Boss. Okay, here's somebody that built it and they did a good job building it, or at least it looks like it. Oh, you want to sell this tank model for $249, but you're only gonna give me one photo? Come on, dude. Oh, this is a good idea to do with one of them. Is to put a flag. That's kind of cool. No, I can't make out the. Oh, they have a lot of corrosion on here. I'd like to. I'd like to see. I'd like to make it look like these guys could run. Actually, mine looks pretty corroded as well. This is way over there. I mean, I like how this looks. Oh, this has a different kind of exhaust. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone then. Yeah, these have a different type of exhaust. Okay, well, these guys are ready for to be sealed. So let's take a look at the metallics. Yeah, it's just washed out. This washes everything out. I basically need to do an automatic. And then the automatic just washes out the drippings colors. They all look like they're the same color. And that's not the case. All right, let's go grab. I should have some index cards, and I don't. I don't think I do. Let's see if I did. Here's the used index cards. Do I have any new ones in here? No, this is just the used ones. These are my recipes for battles. I guess this will work in a jiff. Yeah, this will have to work. A little thinner than I would like. That should be enough. Every time I've done this, it's been worth my time doing it. So let's get the usual suspects out here. I think I have enough time to do this. All right. We're going to pull them all out. Let me start off by the ones that are in here. And some of these colors do not get a lot of airplay. Vallejo Natural Steel. War Paints Gunmetal. Nope, that's black. So is that one. And I rarely use Vallejo black. Rarely. Oh, here's the British Olive Drab. Probably shouldn't hide that one. This is that ugly ass blue gunmetal from Vallejo. Vallejo, War Paints. What do we got here? There's none here. We got Lead Belcher. Iron Breaker. Gray Knight Steel, that I don't think I've opened once. Iron Warriors. Two Iron Warriors. This old thing, this old gal right here. Mithril Silver. Old school. That's a beautiful color. Beautiful color. Okay. make sure I don't have any other ones. Nope. And the new ones we just got, which are oily steel and gunmetal from Vallejo. That's a lot. 10. And I think with those 10, we can probably do a pretty fair job. I guess I better charge my phone. Of doing a metal finish. Yeah, you're going to spray one overall and then pick out a couple panels and 2, 3 of the other colors. And I'm going to do them all even though this gray night steel is worthless. So we're going to apply them on here to get the color going right. Let's get a pen. And a brush that's going to get used over and over and over and over again. Maybe something like this one will be all right. Yep. And then we're definitely going to need one of these. And Mr. Tamiya glue can go over here. And so can this one. All right. Literally watching paint dry. So let's do the Citadel one. Let's go. Old to new. Okay. Let's put it down before we decide what we're going to write on it. What a beautiful color. And I'm going to try to paint it to the edge here in the middle, because I may need to put one up against another. That's all we need to do. This thing's still going strong since about 1988. Now, it'd be nice if I wrote down exactly what it's called before. Citadel color, right? Mithril silver. Yeah. Okay. And it may be that I want to take like this oily steel and spray the whole thing in oily steel and then pick out the panels in the other colors. You can't airbrush this stuff. I bet I can. I bet I'll be able to. I can airbrush craft paint. I can certainly airbrush this. This definitely looks like a usable color. I don't know why they call it a base. Those two look really good. Iron breaker, I will break you. Oh, this is not. I hate when you pull one thing out and something else falls out in its place. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do it right. Man, it's still really watery. Is that because it's a layer? It might be because it's a layer. I never thought about that. Okay, well. This might not be one to use. Or maybe this is the perfect one to use as a top layer. Ooh, it sparkles. Sparkly. Maybe that's what it is. It just has extra. Man, well, I use this and I never even noticed it. Of course, I'm layering it on top of something always. All right. Well, this might not be. It's funny how brown it looks. I wouldn't have thought that. All right. That's not a very good color. it's not that much different from the lead belcher anyways. Okay, Iron Warriors. This is the Joker that gave me a spill. We got a doctor appointment this morning, so I have a little bit more time than I normally do. Great. Fucking live paint. All right. Now you really notice how bright that mithril silver is. Which is not a color I use very much. It's like if you're doing like a sword or something like that. And then this color, which is going to be a fail. But it might be a color I could mix in one of the other ones and make a tiny little tonal difference. Actually, this layer might be a really good use for that. Tonal difference. Tony's tonals. Never been opened. It's a pretty color, but... Oh, come on. Let's try this. Again, it's only because I want to get this done before I got to go to the salt mines. And I'm fully prepared to use the products I already have. It's a beautiful color. I just don't think it's going to be very useful. Gray. Knights. Steel. Now, paints that get applied in a more traditional fashion. Jesus, am I that heavy of a breather? Or is this paper like made out of like coffee filters? Some limp dick paper here. It looks like it's super watery, but it's not. So I bet if you put this on one of the hobby forums, people are like, I don't use that paint or whatever. Look, there's some people, I don't paint Games Workshop stuff, but there's some people that do all that Games Workshop stuff that are better painters than they're as good at painters as people like Plasmo and stuff like that. Gunmetal, okay, so. Bye-bye. Natural steel. We're good on time. And part of me is like, I should just buy a model that's not as good and try it on. Overthinking stuff. Wow, this thing's behaving like that. Like that layer. And there is one color that I transferred onto the bottle by getting it out of the, and it might have been the other. It might have been the other metal. I don't even know where that bottle is anymore. I may have thrown it away because I'm not doing that again. Watched an article on how to transfer, from these type of things to droppers. I'm not doing that again. That was a whole lot of thinner and not a big mess, but I ended up with paint that was more watery than I would like. Well, let's see how that's applying. I'm wondering if this isn't the same paint. I think this is just thinned out too much. It's meant to be put over something. Because that iron breaker layer, you know, and Vallejo does make stuff like that. They make the wood grade, which is like worthless as far as I'm concerned. Natural steel. Vallejo. Two L's pronounced like a Y. That's for you Anglos. Vallejo. Yeah, let's do the bloody gunmetal. Just for completeness. And hopefully I'll keep these. I should have done this on little index cards. And then this one's thick as shit. I knew that was going to happen. The one color I'm not worried about wasting. I think I've used this on my Korean heavy cavalry to pick out certain panels in it. And I still cut this down with like mithril silver. I don't know what gunmetal is this freaking blue, but this is like skateboard blue or banana seat blue. If you had one of those bikes in the 1970s. I didn't. The cool kids had those. I didn't have a cool bike. This is like good fantasy color or something like that. Extremely blue. I mean, you put it next to the Gray Knight Steel, and the Gray Knight Steel doesn't look blue at all. All right, two left to go. These are the ones that I got yesterday. This is Gunmetal 800, which they may not make anymore. Okay. And this is Gunmetal 863. And the other one is going to be Oily Steel. Now, let's not fuck them up. Gunmetal's this one. Now, this is one of these new style bottles that almost looks like it's a cheap water bottle. Let's get all this vestiges of blue out of this. I'm sure somebody likes these bottles better, but I haven't come across them. This is a beautiful color. Let's try doing it this way. and then oily steel, which doesn't look that oily. This would looks like oily steel. Like it's got some brown in it. Yeah, this just has a little bit of blue. It's actually changing color as it dries. It's getting more bluish. It's kind of cool. Also never been opened. I just got it yesterday. Son of a bitch. Sealed for your protection. These new Vallejo paints seem to be creamier. And I'd call that a good thing. I just don't like these bottles. I don't like these cheapy ass bottles. I feel like they're gonna crack. See, like if you left it in the sun or something like that, it looks like it would just like break apart and on you. I don't know why you'd leave this in the sun, but it doesn't instill confidence. Okay, let's get that dollop of paint the hell out of here. All right, so here we have all the colors that we have that are metallics. And you know, there's some that are definitely on the, these three are definitely the blue spectrum, and you got some brown spectrum ones, and I guess this gunmetal would probably be an in between. So then it'd just be a matter of, okay, like I want to spray this overall, and maybe I want a couple of panels in this lead belcher. You know, so you've got colors that are kind of close. Yeah, colors that are kind of close. You know, or maybe Iron Warriors. And that's what I did this for. Now I'm going to try not to use this Iron Breaker or the 800 natural. Where's the natural steel? Yeah, this one. I'm going to put a little dot down here in the corner. I didn't like either one of these two. They're pretty watery. It'd be okay if I like painted over a certain panel maybe. But like if you wanted to paint the whole thing gunmetal, that might be a little too much of a contrast. But if it's kind of watery, it might work out okay. So this is definitely to experiment with. It's funny how this gunmetal is changing. It's getting better. It's getting less dark blue. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks. To be continued. And you know, why am I doing this? Well, because coming down the line, we're going to have one of these. So, and I don't think I have an aluminum, a color called aluminum. Yeah, the only other I've got bronze. I got some golds. Should be able to work fine with any of these. And you can mix them also. You know, you're like, hey, I want this color, but I want it to be a little bit more something or the other. So, all right, folks, to be continued. Enjoy.